What is going on YouTube and Spotify? This is the Just BSN podcast. And I know we took another little break. Our boy Andrew was on a vacation. I got a little more busy and just ended up not having some time. So I said, you know what? Let's just keep it off for the rest of the week and come back fresh without any stress. So we've had a week to get over the Browns loss to Minnesota. And then we go into this game against the Steelers, and it's just even worse. I mean, this is an even worse spot and place that you could be in as a Browns fan. Really, since the 0-16 season. I mean, this one, like this feeling, I think might top it because at least that team was somewhat competitive. Like they at least looked like they tried. This game against Pittsburgh, this team looked like they were done by the first quarter. They did not care about a damn thing. They just didn't look like they had any heart. They knew going into Pittsburgh, there was nothing. There's a lot to discuss about because of that. So, we're going to get into a lot today. We're going to get into a little bit of ranting. We're going to spill some tea. We're going to do whatever the heck we got to do. But it's time to stop being a little optimistic and start getting truthful about the Browns. So, Andrew, I know you're back from vacation and all, so I'm sure you're a little more refreshed. You didn't really probably get too heated about the game like I did because I didn't also watch it. So, now that we've gotten to hear sports talk the last few days and just the overall reaction, man, how are we feeling with this current state? Because I tell you what, it's pretty grim.
I just wish I was back on vacation and just ignoring the Browns. Like that's where I'm at right now. Is like I could just go back to the beach and just not watch this team for another week and just enjoy my time. And you know what? Listening to a lot of the Cleveland sports talk, dude, it's just this. I mean, obviously it's the same, but it's just very telling that this city is just done with what's going on. This city has had enough. It's been 20 years. We've made 2 playoffs, won 1 playoff game. And after 20 years, this city is just ready to just give up on the football team. Be listen, we wouldn't even care if you just moved the team period to another city. Because at this point, we don't deserve a football team right now. Like, and that's like the consensus all around Cleveland. It's just like, dude, just get this team out of here. We don't deserve this shit. Like right now, I'm watching the Cavs. I was like, I'd rather watch this all season long than watch another NFL game for the Browns.
Yeah.
Because at least with the Cavs, I'm a lot more hopeful that they can compete for a championship. You know, the Guardians, even in the middle of the season when they were doing bad, I was like, at least they'll still make the playoffs in some regard, and they did. Yeah. So it's like at least you could trust them to make the playoffs at least once. But there's team, dude,
no shot with the Browns,
dude. The Browns probably won't make it to another playoff in another like 10 to 15 years. Like the way things are going.
They're going to have that new dome and they're going to go 3-14 the first year with how bad this fucking organization is. Pardon my French, but man.
Dude, like, and that's what I'm saying. It's like, I'm excited for and obviously I'm sure we're going to get to this later. I'm excited for the dome.
Yeah.
But I'd rather just put a good product on the field first before I care about a football field. Like, before you give us a new stadium, how about you worry about putting a fucking winning team on the field? Like, yeah, we're going to get a brand new stadium. It's going to be the best stadium in the league. And everyone's going to be like, cool, we're going to go 3-14 in a brand new stadium. It's like, yeah, dude, I love going 3-14, but at least we look good doing it in a good-ass building.
Well, I mean, because you got to think, too. Okay, so you just signed Miles to a 4-year deal.
Yeah.
By the time that 4-year deal ends will be about the time that we get the new dome.
Is the time the new stadium hits, yeah.
By the time that happens, though, he's going to be 33 or 34 years old. Mm-hmm. What is he even going to have left in the tank beyond that? Is he even going to stay? I mean, shoot, at this point, he may not even make it on the Browns through his contract, but you can't trade him this year because his contract and his cap hit is going to be so astronomical. It's going to hurt you more than getting rid of Watson right now. So, there is so much that the Browns did that just absolutely ruined their entire future. So, I mean, dude, I can start with a lot of things, but I'm gonna start here with this. And more of the current talk right now is with Kevin Stefanski. You and I have been pretty big proponents of keeping him for the last several years. At least the last 2 or 3 seasons, we've been like, Stefanski just needs his quarterback. He just needs his quarterback. He drafted his quarterback, who is about as tall as me and can barely get the ball down past 8 yards. Okay, this dude is a dud. He is a lifetime backup quarterback at best. And yet, this offense continues week to week to score more than 17 points. We scored 9, which is actually even worse. But you have not eclipsed 17 points for the last 2 years in all but 2 games. And one of those was the Saints game last year, as well as the Denver game. Okay, both of which you had a decent quarterback just gunning it and just saying, screw it, I'm just going to play lights out and just do what I got to do. And of course you lost those games, but at least they were fun. So Kevin Stefanski, I actually truly believe is genuinely losing this locker room right now. I think he's really lost it after this game. I don't know if the guys are necessarily buying into the things that he is saying. And there's a ton of reports right now that are saying hey, this is the first time where they actually feel like Stefanski's seat is actually hot. And I posted a couple TikToks this weekend after the game, really one big one. And one of the main points that I made was, if Kevin Stefanski loses to Miami, even if it is by 3 points, he needs to be fired at bye week, because you need to get Shadur Sanders ready to play at some point. And the only way that that's going to happen is if Tommy Rees is the guy that's fully working with him. So fire Stefanski, make Schwartz the interim head coach. Tommy Rees calls the plays, elevate other guys. Maybe see if Brian Callahan can come in and it be another, Vrabel for us. It just kind of help with the line, help with the offense, whatever he wants to do. I don't even care. Do something. But what we have currently right now, even with listen, we have a pretty bad roster as well with certain areas. The O-line is decrepit. It is old, and it is battered and bruised. And both tackle spots look absolutely abysmal. They can't stay healthy. Conklin is in and out. Lucas has been terrible. Obviously Jones is out. There are holes. We get that. But you're seeing teams okay, Arizona just started Jacoby Brissett last week because Kyler Murray's hurt. They still scored over 20 points with Marvin Harrison going down with a concussion during the game. Baker Mayfield won a game with Tez Johnson as his leading receiver after Ibuka and Godwin were both hurt, with Mike Evans being hurt the last 2 weeks prior. There are teams and there are players. San Francisco with Mac Jones had a phenomenal run and is having a phenomenal run without Brock Purdy. By the way, he's also made Brock Purdy one of the highest paid quarterbacks in the league, and he's average at best. He's not a great quarterback by any means. That is what good coaches do. Mm-hmm. And at this point, I have made my decisions after the last several weeks of really fighting with this, because again, I've been such a backer of Stefanski. I'm almost convinced he's ruined every quarterback that we've had, including Watson. And that is the hottest take I think I will ever have, because I despise Watson and I still think he is washed. But I don't think Stefanski did a damn thing to help him. And that is what made him not play well, even when he was able to play and stay healthy. Stefanski is not as good as we thought he was. And those coach of the years, you just look back at each season and you see how wild and unpredictable those seasons have been. When you get rid of those, you have 2 8-9 seasons and a 3-14 season, with now a 1-5 season to start this year. That is not a good track record. I don't care about the coach of the years anymore. You can't keep putting those in, especially after 2023. That was all defense. That was Schwartz. Schwartz was head coach of the year. He was the real coach. Stefanski was just on the sidelines running the ball 80 times and getting so lucky with how many field goals we were able to hit. We're not so lucky this year. He has been brought up and he has been ousted by many different things. He was able to ride Nick Chubb's coattails for years. And now that he doesn't have that, sure, he has Judkins. What does he do? He makes Gabriel throw the ball 52 times this past weekend against the Steelers in a game that wasn't high scoring. Like, the Browns weren't totally out of it for most of the game, but the way they played, it felt like they were down 40. This team is giving up on him. It's so apparent. And this is when you have to make a coaching change, is when the locker room is toast. When the guys don't believe in a damn thing that's going on. None of the coaches know what they're doing. There's no discipline. There's no preparation, no adjustments. These guys do not see what they might have seen a few years ago. And they definitely don't see a leader of men with Kevin Stefanski. He may go on and be a decent play caller, but right now, as this head coach, he's got to go. He has got to go, and you can't be afraid to get rid of him and see him have some sort of success somewhere else as a coordinator. I just can't do it anymore. I can't. It's time to move on. It's time to start fresh, because now you are in a true rebuild. You tried to gaslight us fans into thinking, oh, we're not in a rebuild. We're in a regroup. We're in a reload. You and I said that all year this past year. Like, oh, we don't need to, rebuild. We just need to reload, because we thought the players we had were going to compete. These guys look like they're 80 out there. They look dusted. So now you have to commit to it, with Watson hopefully getting off the books soon and having a ton of different trades, which could include a guy like Jerry Jeudy, who needs to get off this team as well. There's a lot of issues, man. There's a lot of issues. I know I've been ranting for the last 10 minutes. There's so much more on my mind, and I've kept this pretty PG, to be honest with you, because I was heated on Monday. This team, just flat out, it's not a good team, but it's not even the worst team that's playing this year. The Jets are a disaster right now, and even Miami. If Miami loses to us, Mike McDaniels is going to be gone for good.
Yeah,
for good. Again, the Saints, there are still bad teams that are technically worse than us, but we can't freaking score when we have a defense that's actually keeping us in games despite going 3 and out 17 times. It's abysmal to watch. Browns fans are done, and I am one of those guys that are in that line. Andrew, you got the floor.
Yeah, no, I'm joining you in that line, because, like you said, the last couple of years we were very pro Kevin Stefanski, and now that train has sailed, or that ship has sailed. Like, I cannot be pro Stefanski any longer. It's done. Like you said, those 2 coach of the years, anomalies. We don't know what happened in those years that got him to that. I think for me now, and my take on that is, I think he was a lot more free flowing with the play calls and allowing his QBs to just open themselves up and just do their thing and let it rip. Because, that was Baker Mayfield and then Joe Flacco. You just allow them to be what they are. Just let the ball rip downfield and whatnot and let them do their thing. And it worked. Yeah. But now what we're seeing with the second stint of Joe Flacco was, a lot of conservative play calling.
Yes.
And a lot of, dink and dunks almost. even with a guy who could throw the ball deep with insane accuracy, like, yeah, you're probably going to get an interception or two out of Joe Flacco, but you take those risks because he's so good.
Like, that's who he is. That's who he's been for years.
Yeah, but you know what? He throws for 350 yards, and he'll throw as many touchdowns as he does interceptions.
And guess what? It's entertaining. Just like Winston was.
Yeah. And when it comes to Gabriel, again, it's a lot of dink and dunks and maybe one or two shots downfield. Now, I will give the quarterbacks, I will give Flacco and Gabriel a little bit of grace just because the likes of Jerry Jeudy doesn't know how to hold on to the ball to save his life and catch it. Same with other guys on this team which Gabriel probably, well, first and foremost, Gabriel probably would have had a 58-yard touchdown pass if it wasn't for the early whistle on the Lavardian catch and him breaking out of the pile. That early whistle costed Gabriel a 58-yard touchdown. Mm-hmm. And now it would have made it, I think it's like 7-6, because that was right in the beginning of the game.
Yeah.
So that would have been 7-6. You had the lead. And then the Harold Fannin, where he led Fannin out of bounds, and Fannin somehow just couldn't bring it in, and it was a perfect throw. And again, Fannin had a ton of room in front of him to just make the catch and turn and run. And somehow he just let that slip through his fingers. So those are two big plays that could have turned to big yardages or big touchdowns. So, and it's been happening all year, even with Joe Flacco. So I will give the guys a little bit of grace for that. But I will not give grace to Kevin Stefanski, who's playing, he's almost coaching scared. Like, why are you being conservative with Joe Flacco? Like, I understand you're doing it with the rookie quarterbacks because you don't want them to get like killed or something. That's fine. I get it doing with Gabriel or Shedeur Sanders. But when you have Joe Flacco, you're supposed to air it out. You're supposed to go big or go home. I don't care if Jeudy can't catch. There's gonna be a couple times where if you give him an opportunity, Jeudy will make a spectacular catch. So you just got to give him the chance. And I don't know why you weren't doing it. So, but it just makes no sense what is going on into Kevin's brain. I'm wondering if there's other things going on. Like this is like a retaliation to Andrew Berry or the front office. This is something's going on, but I have no idea why Stefanski is doing what he's doing, why he's being so conservative. And like you said, too, going to the players, our team looks like, especially our offensive line, look like they're 90 years old. Like, when did such a powerful offensive line not be able to block for more than half a second?
Right.
Because there was times where, I felt bad for Gabriel because as soon as he dropped back, it was like the Family Guy episode where Stewie played football and he goes, and nobody's blocking. And because there's like a free runner every time he steps back and nobody's blocking, just gets killed. That was Gabriel's day basically. And of course, when KT Levison came onto the field after Conklin got injured, you knew that was going to happen with TJ Watt multiple times. He's just going to let him roam free. But again, that comes from the coaching staff. Why is the O-line's coach garbage? Why is the blocking really, really bad? Like, even Bitonio and Teller at their ages were really good in the past couple of years. All of a sudden, now they can't block a fly. So, I don't know what's going on. Like, this whole coaching staff, maybe except for the Tommy Rees, essentially, and Jim Schwartz. Those are like the only two who deserve to stay. Like, I don't get why Callie Bronson's still here as a wide receivers coach, or the other dude who's a wide receiver because she's the assistant. Because our receivers can't catch to save their life. Yeah. Kevin Stefanski, I think, like you said, I think there's times where he just got bailed out by the players. So I'm not just on board with just firing Stefanski. I'm on board with firing half of the coaching staff. Because you know what? Bill Callahan's available now. I would go and get him immediately so that we could fix this offensive line. Yeah. And then I would see what's going on in the coaching world. Like you said, Mike McDaniel could get fired immediately after the Browns game if he loses. Same with Stefanski if he loses and goes into the bye week in week 9, because I think we have one more game after the Miami game. And, you know, if I'm the front office, I'm also taking a gander at the Baltimore situation because Harbaugh looks like he's about to get canned too because he's starting off 1-5. And you know what? Harbaugh is a generational coach. I'd bring his ass in a heartbeat.
Let me tell you something. If they do that, if they fire Harbaugh, I want Haslam to show up to his front door, give him a blank check, and said, "Just tell me your price. Tell me your price, and you got it." Because
Yeah.
Harbaugh would change the culture instantly.
Yeah. A winning mentality.
But even a guy like Brian Flores in Minnesota would be great for the locker room. Even a Robert Saleh, I wouldn't mind either. He was a guy that I wanted over Stefanski during that first reign of getting coaches. And then if you get a guy like him, yeah. So like if you really want to do that, then you can bring in a guy like, this is gonna sound crazy, like a Mike McDaniel to be an OC for you.
Yeah.
Or even bring in Clint Kubiak, the guy I think he's the OC for Seattle right now.
Mm-hmm.
He's a quality coach, like and another son of a great coach. You have a ton of options. It's not like there aren't coaching options available. Joe Brady in freaking the Bills. There's so many coaches that have that ability to take that next step, but you've got to change. It's just that's the fact. But I want to go back to a thing that you said, and you made a good point about Stefanski seeming like he's coaching scared. I think he knows that he's on the hot seat. And I think he has known that, hey, if I don't basically coach and play call to not lose, then I can't really put myself in a position to lose because, well, I'm not really going to be aggressive. I'm going to limit turnovers and try to keep our guys at least safe. Well, what happens is you're getting a guy like Gabriel, who is a one-read machine and gets the ball out almost too fast, throws a ton of hospital balls, one of them that got Njoku killed. Got Isaiah Bond. I mean, he overthrew Bond twice and hit his freaking helmet near the goal line instead of giving it to Judkins, which is a whole nother fiasco. You give Judkins 12 touches in a game where you should have just kept hammering the run and just said, hey, try to stop it because nothing else was going to work. Again, you throw a rookie 52 times. That's ridiculous. But I think that Stefanski knows he really doesn't have the backing of the front office. And that's kind of also like going back to some of our sourcing that we have been told about. Like, it's basically been like Stefanski versus Barry in terms of like who Haslam would rather have. I know a lot of people think that they're kind of a pair, and they may still go out a pair because, and I'm going to get into this, it's not like Barry is free and clear here. The only thing that is going to save his arse is the fact that this rookie class, besides Dylan, has been pretty freaking solid. Like it's been a thumbs up. And even last year's class was pretty solid. And he's hit on a few other guys here and there, like Alex Wright has been a very nice DN. Honestly, the DNs are probably the strongest group that we have out of any group on this freaking team. He obviously hit on Newsome. He hit on Emerson, who even though is hurt, is still great. Delpit, like it's not like there aren't quality guys that he hasn't hit on, but he has failed in roster management pretty badly over the years, and it's gotten worse over these last 2 years. Now, part of that also goes into the fact that, well, he screwed up by trading for, Watson and signing off on giving him a fully guaranteed deal when you knew he hadn't played football in 2 years. And you don't know physically what he can do anymore. He sort of dug his own grave there. Now, it's sort of banking on somebody, sure, and that is up to the players to play well and play up to that, that deal. But I think that goes way more into Barry not understanding how to look for talent or, acquire talent. I would say the only acquisition that Barry has made that has actually been like solid was Cooper. Cooper was the only guy, but he was already solidified. Like, Cooper was who he was. There was nothing for him to prove. It was just, hey, he is a quality guy that's going to be brought in, and was brought in at the time at a good time where we were, trying to compete with Watson and trying to compete in the AFC North, and he got out at the right time because Cooper his body just started to sort of slowly, give way, and that's why he's retired now. But he got lucky on that. Jerry Jeudy had a nice year to end the year last year, but it was only because of Winston throwing him the ball 50 times.
Mm-hmm.
Had it not been for of course you're gonna have good games when you're the only guy that's getting targets. Now this year he has 10 drops. He leads the league in all receivers with drops. I think our receiving core as a whole has like 17 or 18 drops. Sure, that also doesn't help. But again, this goes back to roster management. And when it comes to Andrew Berry and roster management, they just don't go together. He's failed with the O-line. He's failed with the receiving room. He's failed with QBs. He hasn't given Stefanski even really a chance roster-wise to even try to compete these last 2 years. But we've seen worse teams put out a better quality than what we have now. And Stefanski isn't doing himself any favors in his play calling to try to maximize what he does have to its full potential. And that's where Stefanski is going to get fired. It's because of stuff like that. It's a pretty grim and rough way to feel, because you kind of thought and hoped that they would survive the season and get a 5 or 6 win season and at least look like they were trying, and they were just not the better team. They look like they don't even belong in college right now. Sure, they would beat up on quite a bit of college teams because it's still a pro team, but it doesn't look good. It doesn't look competitive. And when you don't look competitive, no matter who you have out there every Saison day, that's what's going to get you fired. And I cannot make that clear enough. And I have a feeling, even though I believe it's supposed to rain on Sunday, so we might have a chance just because of that. But I still think Miami is going to be able to drop 30 plus on us, because the offense is just not going to go anywhere. And Miami's defense is not ranked very well. They're not very good against the run. They're okay in the pass, but they're not ranked well. And yet I still think Miami's going to probably win by at least 10 or more. And they shouldn't. They really shouldn't.
No, especially not with this type of defense that we have. And also, too, I think the reason why we're going to continue to lose games is, like you said earlier, Gabriel should not be throwing the ball 52 times.
Yeah, that's criminal.
It's especially for a rookie. Again, that's what makes me partially feel bad for someone like Gabriel, because I think he's getting put in such a terrible spot to where he has to look bad because his coach is bad. And you can see it on his face. He's like, I don't even know what the hell's going on. And I don't blame him. And again, like we said earlier, if you had Shador on the field, I don't think much would change, to be honest with you. And Shador eats up more sacks because he holds onto the ball for 10 years. So you either have a guy who releases it far too quickly or a guy who doesn't release it, period. And, you need that guy like Joe Flacco, who's kind of, or like a Jameis Winston, who's kind of like that in-betweener.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't have that. And you have to work around it, which means what do? Well, against a team like Miami, run the freaking football. You have Quishon Judkins, who, by the way, I looked this up on my road trip back. After missing the first week of the season, Judkins ranks, I think it was 8th in total rushing yards out of all running backs. And if he would have played in that week 1 game, I'm sure he would have had 90 to 100 yards if he ran a normal amount. That would have put him first in the NFL in yards for running backs. He is that close to being the number 1 back in the league. is like separated by like 100 yards. And yeah, you used them. I think it was. I have the stats actually pulled up here from the Steelers and Browns game. He ran a total of 12 times.
Yes.
12 times. And you made your rookie quarterback throw 52 times. What are we doing? I think you ran the ball a total of, I think it was like 15 times you ran the ball total. 17. Excuse me. 17 times you ran the ball. 52 passes, 17 rushes. And the best part of your game is probably your running backs. Because Sampson's good. Judkins is great. No. Hell, even Jerome Forrest picked up a little bit. He had a couple of good runs and catches. But for some reason, Stefanski's just playing scared, coaching like he's already down by 40 in the first quarter. And that's not a winning formula. And I can't remember who said it, but it was one of the big pundits in sports media that said, like, why are you throwing the football 52 times? Mm-hmm. You know, that's not it was a former coach, the Tampa Bay coach, Bruce Arians. He said, why are you throwing the ball so much? Like, you're down by like a touchdown, but you're acting like you're down by 30. And he goes, you have a rookie quarterback. Why the hell are you throwing it so much with a rookie? Your rookie quarterback should be throwing maybe 22 or 25 to 30 times, not 52 times. And you have a great running back that is not being utilized right now.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know what's going on. Like you said, I think Kevin's coaching to not be fired, but I think it's going to lead him to be fired. And, you know, I just feel the people I feel bad for the most is the players. Because this is their job, is to play football. And yeah, there's so much drama between the coaching staff and the front office that these guys can't even focus on football. Like, we're the least normal team in the league.
Yeah.
No one deals with this crap as much as Cleveland does. Like, I've like going down to different cities. Like, obviously I drove through North Carolina. I went to Orlando. So we're kind of like by Jacksonville and Tampa Bay. Not once did I listen to their sports stations and they just talked ill will of their football team. No matter how bad they are, whatever, they never talked ill will about their team. Even Carolina, they're like, I mean, yeah, we're bad, not that bad, but we're like, eh. But it's like, it's still watching this team still brings us a little bit of joy on Sundays. And it's like the Browns, it's like a nuclear zone. It's like Chernobyl.
Yeah.
Like the media hates the team, the fans hate the team hates the team. It's so wild. Like, I've seen out of towners come to Cleveland. They're like, dude, I didn't know your media was so ruthless. Again, it's like,
yeah, it's like, oh yeah, this is just a Tuesday for us.
Yeah, it's like, you guys wouldn't be ruthless. Like, they deserve it. And it's like, and the thing is, the front office hates the coaching staff, and the coaching staff hates the front office. So it doesn't matter. Like, everyone hates each other.
Yeah.
So, like, you really think everything's gonna be all fine and dandy? We're gonna be winning football games? Like,
hell no.
Like, if you really think we're gonna win a game, you're out of your freaking mind, dude. I have this team basically losing the rest of the season. Like, we're lucky to get 2 or 3 wins. And so, I don't know, man. It's just, at this point, the thing I'm ready for is just, I'm ready to see what Shador has, just to see if you have anything in him.
Yeah.
And if you do, great. We have something to build on. And if not, well, it looks like we're going to be drafting another quarterback for the next 20 years.
Yeah.
Because we're not good at it. And I think we need to just, I think if you don't fire Stefanski during the season, I think him and Barry need to be gone after the season's end. I don't see what's the point of keeping them. And I think, again, like I said a little bit ago, I think half that coaching staff needs gone too. Like, I don't want to see Callie Bronson anywhere near this wide receiver group. I don't want to see the wide receiver coach near the group.
Yeah.
I don't want to see, the offensive line group guy here anymore. I want Bill Callahan back. Like, I don't want any of these guys back. The only one
basically don't want anybody on offense.
Yeah. Like, the only people I care to keep is Tommy Reese and Jim Schwartz, and that's about it.
And honestly, even Jim Schwartz is in a weird spot too, because he has had moments where the defense hasn't looked amazing, but again, I think that has a lot more to do
with the offense.
With the offense's lack of production and keeping the defense on the field, which I've said that now for many seasons. So
I'd make Jim Schwartz the interim head coach after the bye week.
Technically, should have just done it. After the Minnesota game, that was a fireable offense alone with how he managed that entire game. But then to come into Pittsburgh and look just as unprepared and just as scared, if not more scared, like he looks intimidated, and you hear the same things in his pressers.
That's what I was going to mention.
I have to be better. We have to be better. I got outcoached. We got outcoached. We have to do better as team, as coaches, blah, blah, blah. Like, dude, it's the same thing. And it just sounds like another Hugh Jackson to us. Like, it's just another, I have to look back at the tape. That's what it, that's what it screams to us. And that's why we're getting fed up, because now we're getting the sound bites that you hear, and you're just like, dude, here we freaking go again. This is never going to end unless we fire this buffoon, because that's what he is. He's just a buffoon.
Yeah, and like you said, like the pressers just all sound the same, and I hate it. Like, dude, can you say something other than I need to be better? I need to do this. We have to look better as a team. Cool, you say that every week. How about you give us some context with that? What context are you talking about? I need to open up the playbook and give my quarterback a chance to throw the ball. I need to use my running backs a lot more. Right. I need to just do my job. Yeah. I
instead of saying we got to own it. We're 1-5. We got to own it. And it's like, no shit, Sherlock. Like you
shit, dude.
You were telling us things that we all know. We just want to see improvement. There's not improvement. In fact, we want you to act on it. There is an actual reduction of quality play being had each week. At least with Flacco, he was giving you a chance to survive. You were just putting him in bad spots because he goes to the Bengals. Yes, he has some better guys to throw it to, but he's just as bad of an O-line there as he did here. And yet here we are. You see him score, enough to keep them in that game against the Packers, who are a good team that we somehow beat. And it's just like, we should be 0-6 at this point. Like, we deserve every loss that we have had at this point. It's so sickening that I became a Browns fan back in 2004. And I'm going to stay that way. I'm going to stay a Browns fan because I am loyal. But right now it comes with a price. And this price right now is my freaking sanity. And if we keep Stefanski any longer, I just might lose it. I did not go as nuclear today as I wanted to. But the frustration it is real. And if you guys really want to see me go nuclear, probably follow us on TikTok, because I'm sure as things progress, and if we lose to Miami, especially if it's bad, you might see a bigger crash out from me then than you did when we lost to that team up north last year. Like, it might top that. So if you guys enjoy me freaking out, go follow us on TikTok at just BS and Pod. But I don't really know if I have anything else to say. It's just kind of beating a dead horse at this point. We know what sucks and we know what needs to change. Are the Browns actually going to make the changes? We don't know. Yeah. We are in the dark, and to be honest, I hate that I'm even saying this. But I am hoping that we lose so Stefanski can go. But I'm also going to say this, and this kind of makes me cringe at saying this because I've usually been not a fan of this. I need Jimmy Haslam to walk into that building and take control of his team for once.
Yeah.
Like we have always been a guys that have been saying like, hey, stay away from making football decisions. This ain't just a football decision. This is a business decision.
Yep.
Moving on from Stefanski is going to do us better in the long run than it will be to keep him for another season or two, especially if you're in a rebuild. You got to find the right head coach to work with the quarterbacks that you are going to bring in instead of the opposite. Because he couldn't make it work with Baker. He couldn't make it work with Watson. He couldn't make it work with Brissett. He made it work with Flacco for a 5-game stretch, and he definitely couldn't do it with any of the guys this year. It's never going to get better as long as he's here. So why try to convince yourself and gaslight yourself into thinking it is going to get better when there's no realistic possibility this gets better as long as he's here. Just cut the cord loose and just hit the reset button. It's okay to admit defeat. It's okay to tap out here. This team is not good. It needs changes. And that's where you start it. And then follow up with Barry.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with everything you just said.
Yeah. So if that is going to do it for you, then we can go ahead and get into our picks for the week.
Let's do it. I will bring it up right now.
So Andrew, I know you are going to say our records. Myself specifically, I didn't do so hot, I think, this past week and even the week before. So I know my overall record isn't that great at the moment. So
yeah, so we're gonna start off with just saying our week record that we have week 5 and week 6. So for week 5, I went 6-8, you went 4-10, and for week 6, I went 11-4, you went 12-3. So that's where we stand on the last 2 weeks. Total wise, I am 62-30-1. Zach, you are 57-37-1. So not separated by a lot. But one bad week for the both of us kind of derailed it a little bit.
Right.
That's gonna happen. We're gonna have a week where we're gonna get a little derailed, but we're back. As you can tell, Fox NFL changed their graphic a little bit.
Yeah, they did.
Because they added the Fox NFL Sunday crew. Don't know why they would do that, but hey, I digress. So with that being said, Zach, Thursday Night Football, AFC North matchup, Pittsburgh versus the Bengals. Who do you got?
I'm going Pittsburgh. I mean, they're clearly the better team in the AFC North. I'm sure the Bengals will kind of keep it a little bit fun, and because this is a Thursday night game, it wouldn't shock me at all if the Steelers come out and just kind of throw up a dud. But I don't see that really happening. The Bengals are a bad team. I've never believed in Zach Taylor. And even with Flacco, it's not really going to do them too much better, but it's at least going to let them make the game more fun. But I'm saying Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I mean, I said Pittsburgh too, just for the fact that Pittsburgh is obviously the better team, and that's really all there is to it. Is Pittsburgh's overall better. The Bengals defense is atrocious. Joe Flacco did look solid in his first start with the Bengals, but again, I just don't think it's going to be enough to beat Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's defense has really showed out. Moving on to the next London game, the Rams versus the Jags.
This is an interesting one. It's so weird that Jacksonville has been as good as they are. Their defense has been really, really, really solid, but the Rams do have a better, offense than I think the Jags have been able to go up against. So I'm going to go Rams, but I'm not going to be surprised at all if Jacksonville decides to win this game as well. Again, they've been on a weird tear. Their defense is playing at a top-notch level, especially their front four has been absolutely a nightmare to go up against. So I understand what I am picking against, but I just trust Stafford and all of his guys. He's still got Adams. I know Puka just went down, so that could hurt them a little bit. I think that just means you're going to see more Kyron and a lot more Devontae, and I don't think that's going to matter. I still think the Rams can do it.
Yeah, I think the Rams can do it too. I just think offensively they're better, and defensively, like you said, the Jags have looked crazy good for some reason, and Jacksonville could easily win this game for some reason. But the Rams have also been kind of on a weird little tear themselves.
Yeah.
And I just think that it continues. I think obviously Sean McVay is just one of the best head coaches in the NFL. And it's hard to beat him. And especially when he has a team playing super well.
Mm-hmm.
So give me the Rams. And then we move to the New England Patriots versus the Tennessee Titans.
Obviously, the Titans just fired not Bill Callahan, but his son, Brian Callahan, and they are kind of in a weird pinch. I think the Titans might play better, but make no mistake about it. Right now, New England is one of my favorite teams to watch. I'm loving what they're doing on offense. Their defense is solid. Vrabel just has the guys playing well, and Drake May, man. Year two, he looks like the more quality developed quarterback out of that class right now. So I'm loving what I see out of New England, and because of that, I'm going New England, even if they're on the road.
I'm going New England too. Just even though they're on the road, Tennessee just looks abysmal. I don't know who their interim coach is going to be, but I don't see it getting much better for them.
I don't think they have named one, have they? They haven't even named the head coach.
I don't think they have either, to be honest with you.
Wow.
So I take New England just because Tennessee's already in midseason turmoil. They've already fired their coach, and they've already lost a couple other coaching staff members, and I just don't see things getting better. So give me New England. All right, we got New Orleans at Chicago.
Chicago has looked a lot better. And because New Orleans has looked so crappy, it's in Chicago. I'm going Bears.
Yeah, I'm going with the Bears too. I think the weather's going to start getting really bad in Chicago. Plus, New Orleans, like we said earlier in the pod, they're just one of the worst teams in the league besides the Cleveland Browns. It's hard to see them come away with a win here. All right. Well, our game, Miami versus Cleveland. What do you got?
This is so tough because the pure brownie in me is like, yeah, like this is a chance for us to have a bounce back game. And like a couple weeks ago, I would have probably said Browns here, but even at home, I'm telling you that this team just doesn't seem to have a lot of life. And if Gabriel plays the way he did last week, it's going to be Miami by like 10.
Yeah, I went with Miami just for the fact that we can't even score 10 points right now. And I would say if Shador was named starter, I would have a little bit difference of an opinion. I think I would have put us to win if Shador was starting, but as of right now, Gabriel is the starter. I can't bring myself to put the Browns as the winner of this game just for the fact that we wouldn't even get past 2 touchdowns. We wouldn't get past 14 points. So I just can't do it. Until Shador starts, the opposing team will always be my choice at this point.
Yeah.
Carolina at the Jets.
Carolina. The Jets are in a tough, bind right now. And it stinks too because like it's not like Fields is necessarily playing bad. He's just nobody else around him is playing well. The Jets your defense is still pretty decent, but again, like they just have no flow on offense. I almost feel like Aaron Glenn is going to be a first year knockout in terms of his head coaching role. I just don't see him sticking in New York. And I think New York is really going to bite their own cheek when they realize that they shouldn't have probably moved on from Saleh. They should have just moved on from Aaron Rodgers and just tried to get another quarterback. But they didn't do that, and now they're in the position that they're in. So with that said, Carolina.
Yeah, I went with Carolina too. Carolina is just better in just all aspects over the Jets. Again, like as we discussed, the Jets are probably one of the worst teams besides the Cleveland Browns as well. In the Saints, Justin Fields hasn't moved a needle, and whoever they have behind him isn't moving the needle either. And they just lost. I think Garrett Wilson's gonna be missing this week or the next couple weeks.
Oh man!
So they just lost their best receiver, and
the one thing that they have going for themselves.
Yeah, so it's pretty much done for the Jets. Carolina should be able to come in and just wipe them clean.
Yeah.
Eagles at Vikings. This is actually going to be a solid game.
Yes, it is. This is one. This is in Minnesota. I'm actually going to pick Minnesota here. The Eagles are not playing good right now. I know they may end up playing better, but Minnesota's defense is pretty solid. They're coming off a bye week, so they're fresh, which sometimes can hurt you, but I think in this case it's going to help them. Whether it's McCarthy or Wentz, I don't really care who plays. But at QB, that Jay Jetta is going to show up. Jordan Addison has played pretty well in his 2 games that he has, and the pairing at running back has been solid. I don't know if Aaron Jones is still cleared yet or not, but regardless, Jordan Mason has been very, very good for them as well. They just got a solid team, man. And the Eagles, with how they're playing, I just can't really trust that their offense is gonna do what it did last year. So for that reason, I'm gonna go Minnesota with the upset.
Yeah, I went with Minnesota with this upset too, just for the fact that their defense is one of the tops in the league. Yeah. And dude, like you said, Philadelphia hasn't really been impressing me or a lot of people lately. They've actually been kind of playing pretty poor football.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's due in part to Nick Sirianni, but
yeah, probably.
Which is probably the true, yeah. But yeah, give me the Vikings in an upset because I think they could, like you said, whether it's McCarthy or Wentz, I think they could handle it. Oakland at KC. Or Vegas at KC.
Yeah, this is going to be a fun game because the Raiders always play Kansas City well. The thing about the Raiders is their offense is very stagnant. If Gentry isn't doing anything, it's pretty much a wash. And Kansas City has been pretty solid against the run. They just came off a really nice game. It's in Kansas City as well. I think I'm going to go Chiefs. It's pretty hard to not pick the Chiefs when they're at home.
Yeah, that's the sole reason why I went with Kansas City here. Is just the fact that they're at home and it's hard to beat Kansas City at their building. The Giants at Denver Broncos.
This is a fun one. This is in Denver.
Yes.
I'm going to go Denver because their defense is still very, very solid, but New York is going to keep this a lot closer, man. They have found something there with Dart, and I know Dart hasn't really played like insanely well, but he's keeping them in games, and they're fading Cam Scabado, who has been on a tear, had a massive game last week. I can see this game going either way, but because it's in Denver, I'm going Broncos.
I went with Denver too, just because it's number one, it's in Denver. Number two, like you said, their defense is just electric. Again, it's one of the best in the NFL. And I do think Dart will keep this game close and that Giants team, because for some reason they, like you said, they have something with Dart and they're looking really good.
Yeah.
Again, if this was Russell Wilson starting, I think it'd be a blowout. Yeah. But Dart and the Giants will keep this close, but I think Denver holds out. Colts at Chargers.
I'm actually going Colts here. The Colts have been playing some good ball. Their defense is pretty sound. I know the Chargers, obviously, like they're at home. They've been playing decent, but they got lucky last week. And obviously they don't have Hampton right now. They don't have Harris as well. Like they've lost their run game, so they're on their backups right now. They have to really rely on on Herbert to have a big game. And I'm just not sure he's going to be able to have a big game. And it's not to say that he can't, because I got to start him this week in my fantasy league. So I'm kind of rooting for a little bit of a shootout, but the Colts have just been playing a much better game, and so I think it's a more safe pick, despite the Chargers being at home. I think I'm going to go Colts.
I went with the Colts too because I don't know what they're cooking with Daniel Jones, but something they've transformed Daniel Jones into somebody, and it's making me start to wonder if it was just the Giants all along when it came to Daniel Jones.
100% it was.
Yeah. So, because now Daniel Jones seems like he is one of the best in the league.
Yeah.
And I think they unlocked something in Daniel Jones. And to be honest, as a Browns fan, I would have rather have gone for someone like Daniel Jones in the offseason.
Oh, yeah.
Because at least he can move. But yeah, the Colts just have something with them, and I don't know what it is. And I think they keep being really good. Obviously, Jonathan Taylor is one of the best backs in the league. And Michael Pittman looks really good with Daniel Jones. I think they found a good partnership and connection. Again, Tyler Warren, the rookie, has looked phenomenal this season for the Colts too. He's been putting up some big numbers, especially too, because I have him in my fantasy leagues as well. So I don't know what it is, but the Colts definitely have something cooking in Indianapolis. So I went with the Colts.
Oh yeah.
Green Bay at Arizona.
Green Bay. I don't think Arizona is going to have Kyler again, and it sounds like they may not have Martin Harrison. And even if they do, it's going to be hard. They're on their third and fourth and fifth string running backs. Just not a whole lot to really do besides McBride. Brissett's going to keep him in the game. He's going to he's going to make it fun, but Green Bay should run away with this game late.
Yeah, I agree. And once again, I'm going to refer to the defense for Green Bay because that defense, especially with the addition of Michael Parsons, has been really good.
Yeah.
I just don't see anything coming out of this offense for Arizona. Like you said, he has Trey McBride, and that's about all he has because Harrison went down. So Jacoby will play a good game. He'll play a good, clean football game.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's going to be enough to win. So, give me Green Bay. All right. Again, another division rivalry. We have the Commanders at Dallas.
This is going to be a fun one right here. I think last year this game was a shootout with Cooper Rush. I'm not 100% sure if I think CD is still out, but Pickens has been doing good.
I think CD is projected to come back either this week or next week.
Yeah. Washington's still been playing kind of weird. I'm gonna go Dallas because they're at home. It's gonna help them a little bit. If Washington can get Scary Terry back, though, that will help them a lot. But the offense just has looked a little stagnant this year. I don't know what's going on. I think JJ Daniels is just having that sort of sophomore slump. And they just haven't really been able to establish the run game, which I think hasn't helped him either. So I think I'm gonna go boys here.
I went with Washington.
Okay.
Just for the fact that Jaden Daniels is back into the lineup again. He was back last week. But he's back. Like you said, the offense has looked a little stagnant, but I think that now that he's back, I think the offense will flow just a little bit better. And I don't think he really needs much of a run game when he could be the self. It's like having Lamar Jackson not having a running. Well, I can just be the running back. So see some of that with Jaden Daniels. I think he's going to run the ball quite a bit with himself, and um, you know, Zach. He still has old reliable and Zach Ertz too. Like Zach Ertz is again been one of the best tight ends in league history. And whenever receivers go down, you could just rely on him to just get the job done. So we'll see what happens with Terry McLaurin, but I trust in what Washington is doing because there's just some things about the Dallas Cowboys that they just, for some reason, especially against division opponents, they just get in their own heads or something. They just screw up bad. So it's kind of weird, but I give me Washington. Atlanta at San Francisco.
This is another good game. But Atlanta really impressed me last night.
Mm-hmm.
They look legit in their division. San Fran's beat up. They just lost Fred Warner, which is that's a big blow to that defense when they already lost. Bosa as well. They still don't have Ayuk. Purdy is on. Is still attempting to come back, but not quite there just yet. Even though they're at home, I'm gonna take Atlanta. They have found something with Bijan, and they have really found something with London. Penix, he's playing some good ball. They have a good thing going there, and I'll tell you what, their defense looks fast. They really did impress me last night. They really made Josh Allen a little uncomfortable, and there's a big reason why they won. So I'm gonna go Atlanta here.
I went with San Francisco. Not just because they're at home, but I've been looking at some of their news because I have quite a bit of their players on my fantasy teams, and it seems like Purdy's going to be back, Pearsall is going to be back, Kittle's going to be back. It seems like they're getting a lot of people back, and I think that's going to help them tremendously, especially getting someone like George Kittle back.
Yeah, Kittle getting back is huge for that offense for sure.
Yeah, even if Pearsall were to remain out for one more week, they said that Kittle was going to be back for week 7. That was like a week or two ago. So it's week 7. So this is the time where I think they'll have George Kittle, and like you said, it's going to be massive for him to get him back because that could be 100 yards receiving right there. And again, you still have a healthy Christian McCaffrey who could wreck any defense at any point. And he could have 100 receiving and 100 rushing combined. So, I mean, I'm going with San Francisco. Yeah, they took a big blow to that defense by losing Fred Warner, but I think they're also getting a lot of their offensive weapons back, and that's going to kind of overtake the defensive loss that they've had. So, I will take San Fran. On to the 2 Monday night games. We have Tampa Bay and Detroit at 7 p.m. in Detroit.
As much as I'm loving Baker's run here, I do think Tampa is going to struggle a little bit. Detroit's a better team. They are at home, or I wouldn't say they're a better team, but I think right now, with the amount of injuries that Tampa Bay has, they're not going to have Bucky. They're not going to have any of their top receivers. It's going to be a lot to put on Bake's shoulders, and even with how good he has been playing, I think Detroit should win this game, and I think they should win this game. But I'm not gonna lie, I'm rooting for Tampa, but Lions should win this game.
Yeah, I will with Detroit just for the fact that it's not just because it's a home game, but like you said, the amount of injuries that Tampa Bay have suffered is just getting more and more astronomical every week. They just keep losing one person every week, and it's just a big blow too because it's just a big name person.
Right.
They've already lost Mike Evans. They already lost Chris Godwin. They're already losing Bucky Irving. They've lost so much already that he's basically just down to second stringers at this point on the offense. And I think that's going to hurt when you play a big team like Detroit, who is just loaded at every single position, who's loaded on both sides of the football.
Yeah.
I think Detroit will have a big game here against Tampa Bay. And then last but not least, the last Monday night game at 10 p.m. in Seattle, it's Houston versus the Seahawks.
Seahawks should do it at home. Honestly, the thing that's been most impressive about them is the defense has been pretty good. But Sam Darnold's playing pretty well. JSN has been playing phenomenal. He had a great game, I believe last week. So, it's there, and because they're at home, I don't know. I don't trust Houston enough. They really don't have a run game right now. They're putting a lot on Stroud's hands, and I just don't know what he can do with that O-line. So for that reason, I'm going Seattle.
Yeah, I went with Seattle as well, just because, again, I don't know what's going on with Houston, but it's just kind of weird. Their defense is a little lackluster. They don't have a run game, and they just have they don't have much offensive weapons because, like you said, the run game isn't there, and they are missing guys like Tank Dell still and a couple other receivers. So I don't trust Houston enough, and for Seattle, Sam Darnold has again continued to look really like he did again and when he was in Minnesota. He's looking really good. He's looking really comfortable. I think he just had to get out of New York like Daniel Jones, essentially. Just the guy needed to get out of the terrible team, and he looks so much better. Again, that offense looks good, and that defense, I think, if you go to like every like fantasy app too, the defense is like number 2 in the NFL, so they have an insane defense too. So I would take Seattle at home. And those are your Week 7 picks. And we will check out our sponsor too, real quick. Check out our sponsor, Effortless Wins, for sports betting advice and plays to boost your wins. Talk to Tony or Greg. Links will be in the description of Spotify or in the comment section on YouTube. Go and check them out. Again, we're in the midst of NFL season. NBA season is upcoming in a couple weeks. Actually, I think it's next week as the start of the NBA season. NHL just kicked off too last week. So peak sports time. We got NFL, NHL, NBA. So it's time to lock in. Go check them out.
Hell yeah. And you still got baseball. You still got the World Series starting here pretty soon. So things are heating up here in the sports world. I would argue that October/November is some of the best times for for sports. Football. Yeah, that's right. I mean, you pretty much had, I think, starting sometime last week or maybe this week, we have like 49 straight days of football between college and pro ball. So tons of action to be had everywhere. So plenty of sports to go around. It's going to be fun. So go ahead and place your bets. Be smart with your bets, but enjoy it, because honestly, I would say next to football, I mean, basketball is a fun one to bet on, and it's really easy to hit on some bets for those. So be smart, but hey, go do your thing and make sure to check out the boys. They do good work. We've talked plenty about them all, already. They do know what they're talking about, and there's a reason that they've made the money that they have doing what they're doing. So if you guys are interested, check them out. And yeah, that is pretty much going to do it for us, man. Hopefully next week we have some news about Kevin Stefanski getting fired. that is my wish for next week. I know that sounds really grim as a Browns fan and just as a fan in general, but after everything that's happened, I think it's due. It's time. So
yeah,
we'll see how this goes, and we'll have a nice little reaction to that for next week. So until then, we'll see you next time.